What's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well out there. A couple weeks ago, I was at our high school and teen national championship. I was refereeing for a few days and I had two lifters on the final day. So this video is going to be about one of my lifters that competed, and then the next video will be about the other lifter that competed. So as usual, you guys can get like a neat recap of how things went and some key takeaways to use maybe as a coach or a lifter or anything like that. And for those of you new here to this channel, you don't know who I am. My name is Venmo Khamesi. I'm a powerlifting coach, athlete, referee, and meet director. So I make videos on this channel to help out those groups of people. So in this video, we're going to start off with my Team 2 lifter. That was Amber Lopez, competing in the 69 kilo weight class. So she did my Boynton Barbell Championship back in January, and then she signed with me for coaching going into this high school and teen nationals. So she was on day 4, session 1. And for this weight class and division, it was actually quite a bit of a battle. A lot of lifters had lower qualifying totals, including Amber, but have made a lot of progress since then. So once the openers came out, you can kind of see it was going to be a battle by at least 3 lifters, but maybe even 5 lifters battling it out for that podium, and of course for that national title. So we started off with the squat, and our plan was to do something like 145 for the opener, 152.5 for the second, so a 7.5 kilo jump, and if things were going well, go up to 160 kilos for the third, another 7.5 kilo jump. For this weight class, since it is a new weight class, the 69 kilo class as well as the 76s, all the American records were quite low. So what we ended up doing on the second attempt, and as well affected the third attempt, was on the second attempt I went 153 instead of 152.5 because that was going to be the American record, and that would also give us the chip in case going against these other 4 ladies, if there was something with the body weight, we had that chip on there. And in case we missed the third attempt, we had the chip on the second and not just wait for the third. In addition, what happened is on our second attempt, we hit the 153 for the American record, and then the lifter after us actually did 162.5, so she bumped up the American record then to 162.5, and so our 153 was the American record for about 1 minute, but also we still had that chip because if I had waited to the third attempt, then we wouldn't be able to do like 160.5 because she already did 162.5 on the second. So I did the 153 on the second, it went well, and I had to put in the next attempt, and I was watching the lifter after kind of at the same time to see what to put in. I could have put in the 160.5 anyways, because the way the rule is that I did the 153, I put in 160.5, or even if I put in 158, then as soon as the lifter after us hit the 162.5, and that is now the American record, the scoring manager would have to automatically adjust our third attempt now that lifter broke the American record in the second attempt. So if we had done 160.5, they would have dropped it down automatically to 160. If we had done 158, they would have automatically dropped it down to 157.5. If there was some kind of scenario where we did, let's say, 153, and then we put in 153.5 for our third attempt, and that lifter did 162.5. Since obviously they can't move it down to 152.5 since we already did that. Our minimum, we already did 153. Our minimum would be 153.5, but you can't chip it now. It's a record. They'd move you up to 155. So if it's a scenario like that where they can't go down to that lower 2.5 kilos because you already did that, or you already did more than that, then they'd move you up to the nearest 2.5 kilos. So we would have gotten 155. But I watched it. The lifter got 162.5, so I just went with 160 for our third because how well the 153 moved. So we ended up getting 3 for 3 on the squats. We ended up getting the 160 on the third, which was a 20 kilo PR on her squat, so great progress on her squat. And the lifter who did 162.5 on their second ended up missing 165 on their third, so they were only 2.5 kilos ahead of us on squat, with some of those other lifters a little bit further behind since their squat wasn't as strong. So then we moved to the bench press, and our plan for the bench press was to do 77.5 for the opener, and then if all things went well, go 82.5 for the second, and then based on how that 82.5 went, if it flies, we'd go 87.5, if it moved average, we'd go 85, and she had hit 185 pounds in training for the heaviest single, which is about 84 kilos, so she was close to that 85, and there was more in the tank in training, so if things were really going well, we could have gone for that 87.5, but things did not go really well. The 77.5 was fine, nothing super fast, but it was good enough to go to 82.5. The 82.5 was a little bit slow off the chest and then easy at lockout, so played the safe route because you really need that second attempt to really be fast, no slow down, super fast for some lifter to take a 5 kilo jump when they have that 80 to 85 kilo max. It's just a big percentage jump, but since it did not fly off the chest. It did not move that fast. We just played the safe route, said let's go 85 kilos since we basically hit that in training, and it just didn't come off the chest. It was just too hard off that bottom portion. So we were stuck with the 82.5 kilos on a second, 2 for 3 on bench press. Some of the other lifters didn't miss their thirds as well. So for example, a lifter that was 2.5 kilos ahead of us on squat, they missed their third bench as well. And they only bench 80 kilos where we bench 82.5. So now in subtotal, we are tied going into deadlift with some of those other lifters lower on subtotal, though some of them had bigger deadlifts than us, since deadlift is one of our weaker lifts compared to the squat and the bench press. But so far we were 5 for 6, and we had the subtotal and a big opener compared to the other lifter going into the deadlifts. So now for deadlifts, you go in with the plan, but you change that plan based on how things are going. So you want to maintain or lead if you're ahead. You want to try and play a little bit catch up if you're behind. For us, like I said, we were tied on subtotal with the person who ended up second place, and we had the higher body weight. So technically on subtotal, they were first and we were second, but based on openers, we were opening at 147.5 on deadlift. They were opening 137.5 on deadlift. So on projected openers on deadlift, we were going to have a 10 kilo lead on the total, the projected total. So basically what we had to do at that point, once you get the openers in, is we have a 10 kilo lead, is just hold on to that lead. And some of these other deadlifters that have big pulls is, just keep it out of reach for them. So in the case of this battle between, first and second, the benefit was that the other lifters deadlifting before us, we get to watch and see how their deadlift looks, and watch and see what they put for their second attempt, see how big of a jump it is, and then base our second attempt based on what our opener looks like and what our jump is to just stay ahead. So for example, they put in 137.5 for their opener, then 147.5 for their second. So they took a 10 kilo jump to try and close that gap. For us, we did the 147.5 opener. It didn't look quite as fast as I would like, and not quite as fast as that other lifter. Deadlift was, deteriorating a little bit during the peak block, and then, during the competition, it was a fast competition, finished I think in under 3 hours. Energy was just a little bit low. So instead of trying to stay with them and they went 10 kilos, let's go 10 kilos. There's no need for that because we already had that 10 kilo lead. So I was like, let me cut it down in half. Let me only go 5 kilos. So they only gain a 5 kilo lead, and we still, get the second attempt in, and then we'll see in the third, because I didn't want to do a 10 kilo jump and then you miss your second and third, and then it's over before we even get to third attempt. So we went 152.5 kilos, which is a little bit lower than what the initial plan was. But the point is that you adjust based on how the game day is going, based on what your goal is, which is being a national champion, not hitting a certain, deadlift PR or total PR. So they went and did the 147.5. Theirs went smooth. We went and hit our 152.5, and again, it was not as fast as I would like. It was a little bit slow, and I was unsure how much more she had, because now not only were we deteriorating in training, now we're deteriorating a little bit in the competition, where we missed that third bench. The opener deadlift looked a little bit slow. The second attempt deadlift now looking a little bit slow. And so then I looked and see what they put in. They went for another 10 kilo jump to, obviously try and come and pass us, and they had other lifters in the competition as well pulling after us, like 167.5, 177.5. So here's where it starts becoming a battle. So they put in another 10 kilo jump to 157.5. So initially I just put a number in. I put in 162.5 because you do have the 2 changes on deadlift, and we had some deadlifters after us. I wanted to see how their deadlifts looked, and then figure out based on what we're capable of, what they're capable of, and what numbers they're putting in, what to put in. You don't want to just go put in your number that you think and then just sit there and not change anything, because if that is your strategy every time, people are going to know, okay, that's the actual third attempt, and let's build around it. You can put in sometimes a fake number in there to not let them know what you're thinking, and also watch their deadlift. So we got to watch that, that 177.5, the 167.5, see how those move, see what the totals are in second attempt, and the body weights, the lot numbers, and then finally make the decision on a third. So since it was a battle, like I said, for basically 5 lifters fighting for the podium, and a few of them having a shot at the first place, and us not necessarily having the deadlift over everyone, I had to decide, do we try and hold on to first and be a little bit more aggressive, or maybe a little bit more conservative, where we're still in first, but there's an easier chance for someone to bump us, but we're still going to hold on to second, because what you don't want to happen is you miss your third, everyone makes their third, and then you fall second, third, fourth, who knows. Instead, you want to maybe take a more conservative third, where you're holding on to first just barely, but it's going to be difficult for you to fall out of maybe second place, because those lifters have to take a bigger shot. They have to put something on the bar that they don't want to do, or they're scared of doing something like that. So when you don't have the big deadlift, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to be the last one in deadlift. I want to put, 200 kilos on the bar, wait and see what everyone does, and I'll be the last deadlifter, because you just don't have the same deadlift as everyone. We end up doing 157.5 for a third, where there's other lifters attempting 177.5 or 180. So we don't have that advantage at the end. We got the advantage on the subtotal, and now we just have to hold our ground on deadlift. So you have to switch your strategy a little bit. You have to learn how to take what's there, kind of like Price is Right. Go as close as you can without going over, and then put that pressure on those lifters. They got the big pull. They want to be the last deadlifter. Go out there. Let's see you do it. Go pull something that you had no plan of doing, that you never tried before, your estimated max is never pointing to, and let's see if you can do it. So what I ended up doing is I switched that 162.5 down to 157.5 during those third attempts. When it was time, I just put the change in so we get another 5 kilos. It ended up being a 5 kilo PR for her as well on the deadlift, but that wasn't the point at that point. We were just trying to, hold on to the placing. So I knew 2.5 kilos was there. I just wasn't sure 5 kilos was there. Just depend on what kind of energy she had, if she can get jacked up for that third and stay with it. And you can tell from the video that, it was very difficult off the ground, but she was able to stick with it, lock it out. So we end up going, the 3 for 3 on the deadlift, finishing with a 400 kilo total, which is a 32.5 kilo total PR. So then the lifter that was in second place, who took that 10 kilo jump to 157.5, their lot number was after us. So basically everyone was deadlifting after us at this point. They missed, so they were out at 390. Then another lifter didn't attempt it at all. They were going for different placing, so it ended up being 387.5. They went 3 for 3 on deadlifts. They just held on to their placing. And then there was another lifter that went 180, but also they didn't want to push it further. They were trying to go for placing to go from third to second. So some of these lifters were battling it out, like I said, top 5. So they're battling out going from fourth to third or going third to second. And so the one with the biggest deadlift was trying to go from third to second rather than going third to first and being stuck at third. They ended up missing the 180 anyways. So we ended up being at 400. There was 2 lifters at 390, another lifter at 387.5, and then another lifter at 375 who missed their third attempt as well. So again, it was a battle for all 5 lifters, and we don't know whose goal was what as far as going first or just getting the podium. And we had lifters deadlifting after us, so our focus was, let's just get 3 for 3 on deadlift, get as much as we can without going over, and then watch and see what these lifters did, and ended up working out for us. Going forward, there may not be too much to change. The body weight was pretty on point to get down to 69 kilos. The training went well. 32.5 kilo total PR is obviously really good. It was just the couple weeks of deadlift training in the peak that was like a little bit more difficult than we wanted to, and then the competition being a little bit fast, energy being a little bit down, then maybe reduce the possibility of like totaling a little bit more. Maybe she would have gotten the 85 kilo bench press, maybe she would have got like a 160 kilo deadlift and got a little bit more on the total. And so it's just going back to training and maybe focusing on doing more deadlift after squat to really build up basically deadlifting in a fatigue state, and maybe focusing on bench press, a little bit more volume, and being, again, maybe a little bit fatigue state, but also being, on top of the pauses, since the competition, sometimes the pauses can feel longer than when you're in the gym and you're like not waiting for a press command, you're just, stopping on the chest and going. That reaction time to listening to someone say press and then you pressing can often be a little bit longer than the competition. So just honing in those little things may help to get that, 9 for 9 day with the PRs across the board and not have things kind of deteriorate as the competition went along. But can't complain. Second competition ever, national champion. She had the American record squat on the second attempt for about a minute. The total, the 400 kilo total, ended up being the American record in the team 2 and the team 3, since the younger lifters can break the older lifters' records. So she got 2 American records in the total. So all around, can't complain. Really good day, really good progress. Now we'll see what the goal is going forward. See maybe if we can invite to the North American Championships in Orlando, since she could break some world records there. The 160 squat was 10 kilos over the world standard, so she can get that and be a North American champion. If not, we'll see how things go as far as the rest of the year and into next year. But hopefully that's some good information y'all can take away as far as chipping American records and battling it out with lifters when it comes down to deadlift. Other than that, hope you guys are having a good day. If you're going to be in Daytona for the bench press, youth, open, equipped, masters, nationals, all those nationals combined, I will see you in about a week. And if you want to check out any other videos, you can check out my latest video here and this playlist here. But other than that, see you guys next time.